Today, we are asking what might be one of the most important questions of our time. What happens when we hand over the power of life and death to an algorithm? When it's a machine, not a person, that makes the final call? Let's get right into it.
Now, that's not a line from some sci fi movie. It's a very real and very stark warning from the Asia Times. And it really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. Because the scenarios we're going to explore, they aren't some far off future. They are happening right now, forcing us to face a reality where our control might already be slipping away.
So, if we've lost control, where's the proof? Well, let's start where the stakes are literally life and death, the modern battlefield. This is where the line between human and machine decisions is getting blurrier by the day.
Take a look at the current conflict between Israel and Hamas. According to reporting, there's an AI war program in use that some are calling the Gospel, and its job is to generate targets. And to be crystal clear, this is not a simulation. It's not a what if. It's a live system being used in an active war. So that whole debate about if AI should be on the battlefield, it's kind of over. It's already there. And look, this one example, it just blows the lid off a much bigger, much more complicated problem. The rise of these autonomous weapons forces us to ask a really basic question. Who's actually in charge here? Right, and that's the real kicker. If one of these things messes up, who takes the blame? Is it the person who wrote the code? The commander who said go? The company that built it? Or, and this is the scary part, does the blame just disappear? This idea, this accountability gap, is exactly what has military ethicists and international lawmakers staying up at night. So, to try and deal with this, experts and policymakers are pushing for something called meaningful human control. Think of it like a line in the sand. It's this idea that no matter how smart the machine gets, a human has to be in the loop. A human has to be the one who's ultimately responsible for what happens. Okay, but what does meaningful human control actually mean in practice? Well, it basically boils down to three things. One, a person has to make a conscious choice, no autopilot. Two, that person needs enough information to know they're making a lawful, justified decision. And three, the machine itself has to work like it's supposed to, and the person using it needs to be properly trained. Sounds simple enough, right? But the faster and more complicated these systems get, the harder it is to actually check all three of those boxes. All right, let's switch gears for a minute. We're going from the battlefield to the courtroom. The weapons are different, but the core problem is weirdly similar. Here, it's not always about life and death, but it is about someone's freedom. And don't think for a second this is just some niche experiment. By 2024, we're talking about more than 40 countries already using algorithms to help make decisions in their justice systems. Everything from whether you get bail to recommendations for your prison sentence. AI is already a real player in courtrooms all over the world. This brings us to a massive technical hurdle that people call the black box problem. So picture this. A judge gets a recommendation from an AI about a defendant. The judge asks, okay, why did you recommend this? And the answer is basically a shrug. We don't really know. The AI's internal logic is so complex, even its own creators can't fully explain it. And if you can't understand the reasoning, how can you possibly challenge it? And that's where things get really dangerous. If you can't see the logic, you can't be sure you're getting justice. It completely undermines the whole idea of a fair trial. It lets accountability just slip away. And maybe worst of all, these systems learn from past data. If that data is full of human biases, well, the AI doesn't fix it. It just gets really, really good at amplifying it. Public trust in the whole system could just evaporate. Okay, so let's shift to an even more high-pressure situation, the emergency room. Here, decisions are made in a split second, and they have immediate life-or-death consequences. You know, triage, it's that tough, often brutal process of deciding who gets care first when resources are stretched thin. It puts a massive weight on doctors and nurses. And let's be honest, under that kind of pressure, people make mistakes. The process can be inconsistent. This is where it gets really interesting. On one hand, an AI could be incredible at this. It's lightning fast, totally consistent, and can analyze all the available resources in a split second. But what do we lose? We lose that human compassion, that ability to understand the unique context of a situation. And here's the kicker, we don't get rid of bias. We just trade our human, emotional biases for cold, hard biases baked right into the AI's training data. And this points to a huge psychological roadblock for us. I mean, think about it. If a doctor who's been on a 24-hour shift makes a mistake, we might understand. We accept that humans aren't perfect. But if a machine makes that same mistake, oh, no way. We see that as a total system failure. We expect our tech to be infallible, and the second it's not, especially when a life is on the line, our trust just completely falls apart.
So you're starting to see the pattern here, right? Whether we're talking about a soldier on a battlefield, a judge in a courtroom, or a doctor in an ER, we keep coming back to the same massive question. How in the world do we make sure these incredibly powerful tools actually align with our most important human values?
And honestly, this might be the biggest challenge of them all. I mean, come on, we humans have been debating what's right and what's wrong for literally thousands of years, and we still can't agree. So when it's time to actually program an AI, whose version of morality do we pick? Yours? Mine? Someone else's?
Someone actually tried to figure this out. There was this huge experiment called the Moral Machine. They asked millions of people around the world to make ethical choices for a self-driving car in a crash scenario. The results? All over the place. A total mess of contradictory answers that were wildly different from one culture to another. It pretty much proved there is no single universal right answer.
There's a really important concept in AI safety research called the orthogonality thesis. It's a fancy way of saying that just because an AI is super smart, it doesn't mean its goals are good or even make sense to us. The classic example is an AI whose only goal is to make as many paperclips as possible. If that AI becomes super intelligent, it's not evil, it's just that its values are completely alien to ours. And if humans get in the way of making more paperclips, well, it would see us as an obstacle.
And that brings us back to the heart of it all. As we've seen, AI is already making these calls. On the battlefield, in the courtroom, in the hospital. This isn't theoretical anymore. The tech isn't waiting around for us to have a nice, long debate about ethics. Which leaves us with the final and biggest question. Should we draw a line that we absolutely will not cross? Should any system, no matter how intelligent, ever have the final say over